Okay, here I am on a test server, and this is the OU812 Warforged Warlock build for Hardcore League. You can see my starting stats. This build uses Constitution every level up every time you can, so we don't worry about Charisma, but we start with a 14. We'll eventually get items to get our Charisma higher, but we don't really worry about it. Constitution is our main stat. We will be in Enlightened Spirit. I am level 1. I have no gear. And we will do level 7. Just going to make the build as displayed. UMD, Spellcraft, Perform. Every level up. The 2 spells I took, first level I took Jump. The next, because it's Hardcore League, I would take Expeditious Retreat, but once I found a striding item later, I would switch it for False Life. Spell selection is personal though, so you probably, you can, if there's a spell that you really like and I pick something different, it won't matter, just to play how you like to play. So we are focusing on shield mastery first. So my first feat was shield proficiency. Level 3 is shield mastery. This will give us more hit points. And the name of the game is survivability. So there's my constitution. Obviously, if we found a constitution tome, that would be even better. For this level, I always take Blur. Some really useful spells in this one are Blur, Invisibility, Protection from Energy. Dispel Magic is good to have for spell wards. Sleet Storm is very good if you have freedom of movement. But we're just going to take Blur. Okay, this level we take Quicken. And always Dimension Doors as soon as we get it. The next spell we would take would be Displacement. You can see at level 7 I have 1 racial from the tome for the expansion, 1 universal from a tome from the expansion. So the first thing we're going to spend our racial, the first thing that we want to select is we need to get to chain shape, because that's what we're going to use to level 12. Once we hit level 12, we will switch to Enlightened Spirit and start bursting once we have access to this Spirit Blast. But prior to that, we hit everything with chain shape. And the most helpful things in this tree, this row here, and this is our, every time we cast a spell we get temporary hit points, so we want this, any amount of hit points, good for us. Okay, so we have chain, and the next most important thing that we want to take, we need to get our magic missile immunity, which is right here. And there's a few goodies in this tree. We will eventually go up the middle here, so we can actually even start, but the problem is we won't be in an aura, so we won't gain access to this yet. So technically you could respec and early just focus on PRR and MRR, which are, helpful until we get our shield. So we've got our permanent shield. 2 other things we really want to take early is this, Aura of Courage. That will give us fear immunity. That is very important for the Hardcore League because we don't know what the champions, the special champions for the Hardcore League events, sometimes they have effects that can kill you, diseases, fear effects, poison effects that can kill you if you're not protected. So having fear immunity will protect you if there is a champion that does a fear, some sort of a fear effect. The other very important helpful thing early game is this resist energies. You won't keep this once you get up into epics. You can take something else and drop this, but for heroic questing on Hardcore League, this is great because for 60 spell points, you get every spell resist, and it's just a single cast. You could put more points into this to make it cheaper, but we're not going to worry about that because it doesn't get that much cheaper. We just need to have access to that. So now we have 8 extra points. I will get more fortification. It's very important. And we technically could go up this tree and get some of these Warforged benefits. However, this build is pretty tight. Once we're in Enlightened Spirit and Tainted Scholar, we really don't have many points to play around with. Our universal action point is going to go into Feydark Illusionist because that will give us 5 force and 5 universal spell power. And right now, before we switch to Utter Dark Blast, in the early game, we are doing force damage. So that will effectively give us another 10 spell power and make our chain hit harder. So we don't want Utter Dark Blast yet. We're going to stay with force damage. Okay, to spend these last 4 points, I'm going to increase my damage. Most of this gear is bad. Here's a docent. Okay, so we're a docent. We'll use this constitution item. Give us +3 con. So most of the gear is garbage that they give us to start. Okay, here we are, Red Fang, on Elite. So we have no ability to heal. So we have to be reasonably careful. There is a shrine in here. We are just going to run through the traps.
Desiccated corpses line the walls and hang from the ceiling. Dead assistants or failed adventurers.
Now I'm immune to poison, so I can just walk over those little eggs and I don't have to worry about them hurting me at all. Anytime I cast a spell on myself, I get temporary hit points. So I have Featherfall here, and whenever I cast Featherfall on myself, which is a quick cast, I will get temporary hit points. So if I start taking damage, I just will put temporary hit points on myself. So effectively, it's like a heal.
Two signal crystals rest on either side of the metal door.
Warforged are great because they are immune to everything.
Platforms line the rim of a deep shaft descending into the unknown.
Oh, I got caught in a web. Put my fake hit points on again. And then feather fall down. So the chain shape makes, at low level, makes this very strong. Just going to run through this trap.
A dangerous-looking spider crawls from the shadows, hungry for a meal. Venom becomes still as
Hit
you
me,
enter
but
its
I
life.
put my fake hit points on. Gotta watch out for that trap. Oh, mysterious remnant. So this is not perfect as a, but it's near perfect for hardcore. Because you, as a Warforged, are immune to everything. You can run through most traps, not every trap, obviously, but the early traps especially, you can run through a lot of them. Very solo friendly, obviously Warlocks, and when we get to Enlightened Spirit at level 12, it gets even more so. Once we get
Perhaps it is tied
our
to a
fake
door
hit
somewhere.
points from at level 12 shining through.
Though there appears to be a way through the spikes, the high ground seems safer.
So the damage is not very high. You know, so if you wanted a high damage build, this is not it. Warlocks do not do a lot of damage. The new Warlock does a significant amount of blasting fire damage, but this room here is no danger for us at all because we are immune to the poison trap. So we can just run through it all. Don't have to worry about it. Refresh my fake hit points. Okay, so I'm going to refresh my spells. These fire traps are a little bit more difficult than earlier. So I just used my Enlightened Spirit resist energies. You can see I have all of them now, and they give me at level 7, 20 in all of them. So it's very good. Very good to have for Hardcore League. Very survivable. And like every trap, I'm just going to run through jumping. It's why jump is so important for the Hardcore. Having a high jump skill will allow you to just jump through everything. This is a trap here too. I'm going to jump through it. Don't believe I have the search necessary for this. No. And you can see why chain shape is so strong.
Is in a heat, twitching and hissing as life
Very
ebbs
strong,
from its
very
body.
quick. Very good build for hardcore. A lot of survivability. You become very difficult to kill because you wind up with thousands of temporary hit points that you can refresh on yourself frequently. So they are very handy. Get your fortification as high as you can. Get your, that's a good docent for us. Get your PRR and MRR up as high as you can. And that's great. I probably will be playing one of these characters to solo.